And Hillary Clinton are now their party's presumptive nominees. So what is a general election matchup going to look like between these two political rivals? Now, we asked Donald Trump about facing off against Hillary Clinton, and here's more of my interview with the presumptive Republican nominee from yesterday. Let's go to a general election campaign. Hillary Clinton is the Democratic nominee. You're the Republican nominee. You know, this is two very different governing philosophies here. Break down where you see the biggest differences in your two campaigns and where America would head.
Well, first of all, it will be more of the same with Obama and all those bad decisions. So many bad decisions have been made, and you look at what's going on with the jobs numbers now, a 38,000 number, which is horrible. Actually, it's one of the worst, I guess, in close to 7 years. You look at so many other factors economically. The country is really struggling. We're doing poorly. And I'm telling you, this country has such incredible potential. You look also at the military, where we're really depleted. The military is in such bad shape. I don't know if you saw the feature that was on the other day where our jet fighters, they're replacing parts from museums, and they're going to plane graveyards to open up old planes and get parts for our current jet fighters, which are very old. And you have other countries with brand new stuff, and it's very sad. So we'll be strong on the border. We'll be great for economic development. We'll get rid of Obamacare, replace it, as you know, with something very, very good. I mean, there's so many alternatives, and they'll be so good by comparison. Obamacare, I don't know if you saw what happened in Texas, but Blue Cross Blue Shield through Obamacare up 60%. 60%. And the numbers are even getting worse than that. I understand on November 1st, new numbers are going to come out, which are going to blow it sky high. It's going to make it unacceptable.
The average
and we can't allow them to change the date.
The average health care premium since Obama's been president is up 40%. Obamacare has not helped families. You have 1 in 5 American families without a single person working. You've got 1 in 6 American males 18 to 34 that are either incarcerated or out of work, and then 95 million Americans out of the labor force. But we keep getting told, even though they created 38,000 jobs, we're told the unemployment number keeps going down. Is that a case where the government just lies to us?
Yeah, well, it's a fixed number. Look, they had the worst numbers that they've had in 7 years, and the employment rate went down, which tells you what I've been saying for a long time. It's a sham. It's a scam. Look, the whole thing's a scam. Frankly, Bernie Sanders has gone through it. He's seen it. You know, the whole thing with the rigged deal going on. And I actually saw it a little bit, but we won by so much. I mean, we won by massive landslides, and virtually every state that we won by big landslides.
You think the system is designed, the system was rigged from the beginning, and Bernie had no chance whatsoever?
I do. I think he had no chance. Unless he won by even bigger numbers, I think he had no chance. I mean, the beauty of what we did is I won by massive landslides all over the place, whether it's New Hampshire or South Carolina, Nevada, no matter where we went. And then we came to New York, and we got tremendous numbers in Pennsylvania, Ohio. I mean, no matter where you look, Michigan, I won Michigan, which was amazing. But we got tremendous numbers. And, you know, Ohio was close. We did well. We ran against John. He did a good job there. And you know, so many different places. Florida was unbelievable. The numbers in Florida, the kind of victory we had was fantastic. So, you know, I think that probably helps. That helps solve a problem where something is rigged. You solve it by winning with massive numbers. I always say it's like the prize fighter. You go and you knock out your opponent. You don't have to worry about what they're doing.
What do you make of this new book, Gary Byrne, former Secret Service agent? Now, interesting life he had. He was posted directly outside of the Oval Office during Bill Clinton's presidency, and he talks about Hillary Clinton lacking the integrity and the temperament to be the president of the United States. She has an explosive temper. She's impulsive, enabled by sycophants, and has a disdain for the rules that everyone else has to follow. You think the media is fair in their coverage of that versus how they cover you?
Well, so far it's got very little coverage, which is really amazing, because basically it says her temperament is a disaster, which I know, and you know, and a few people know, but I don't know if the word is getting out. But this is somebody that knew them very, very well, saw her in action, and look, she was a disaster. She doesn't have the temperament. She doesn't have a lot of things to be president, including, frankly, good judgment. Her judgment is horrible, and Bernie Sanders said that. Bernie Sanders said that her judgment is terrible. She doesn't have the judgment, the good judgment to be president. So he got something right.
At a lot of these rallies, we see now, and we've been able to pinpoint that there are certain groups. For example, veterans groups associated with Hillary were in front of Trump Towers. Then we see certain other leftist groups and supporters of Bernie and Hillary organizing at Trump rallies. It culminated in what happened in San Jose. I don't know if you saw the video. This poor woman literally was surrounded by a mob and waving the Mexican flag in her face, throwing an egg in her face, guys being chased down the road by a mob of people, getting punched and bloody and bruised. And then the San Jose mayor blamed you for what happened with these people that were involved in this violence. What is your response to that? Specifically, and more specifically, when somebody like Angela Davis is urging people to, quote, do whatever is necessary to stop Trump. Do you interpret that as a threat?
Well, I think the mayor was absolutely a disaster. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. We had a tremendous rally with, many, many thousands of people. The place was packed, and they left, and they met a bunch of thugs. They were absolute thugs. And by the way, the woman, she was incredible. The way she kept, the stiff upper lip. She was incredible.
She was tough,
She was
yeah,
being pelted with eggs. She was strong. This woman is she was incredible the way she handled it. And then ultimately they let her inside because they saw what was happening was terrible. But these are thugs. These are people that were burning the American flag. They were absolutely terrible. And frankly, the mayor should be ashamed of himself. He couldn't do the job. I think he was almost afraid to do the job. But these were their people. These were Bernie people. They were Hillary people. These people are set out to do a mission. These aren't protesters. These are much worse than protesters. And when you see, some of the police told me, when you see people wearing face masks, things over their face, they're professional agitators. And you had a lot of professional agitators. But inside that arena, that place was a love fest, believe me.